Okay, Papa, this is the second video, and in the first video we talked about how to qualify the cipher pattern, the very first part of the cipher pattern, and I've taken off the A and the B here. It's the same exact setup, but I've taken off the A to B because you no longer need to concern yourself with the A to B. Now, price has gone from X to A, which is the impulse leg, retrace leg, up to C. Alright, now we're talking D entry because the setup has been qualified. We've got a 50% retrace here, and this extension meets our criteria of either 127 or 141. It just can't close above 141. So I don't have any prices or anything like that. I'm just assuming that this is a valid setup. And this is typically what a setup's going to look like. You're going to have your impulse leg, and your extension leg is going to be a 127% extension of this distance from X to A here. Okay, and this is still a bullish setup. Everything remains the same in the example. And the way you know it's a bullish setup is the A and the B and the C are all above the X. Okay, so now we're talking about our entries. So after we've confirmed our X, A, B, C criteria, which we have, we move our fib tool off the A point, which is right here, to the C point up to here. So we're going to leave the base on the X. We're just going to pull it from now A to C. Okay? So your total fib measurement now is going to be the total distance from X up to C. Now D is going to be a 78.6% retrace of the total distance from X to C. Okay? And we're going to assume in this example that X to C is 130 pips. So the distance from here to here is 130 pips. Not counting the little jog from A to B here. We're not even concerned with that little jog anymore. The total distance from this price level to this price level is 130 pips. And the D entry right here is going to be a 78.6 retrace of this total distance here. Okay? Now the way we calculate that is 130 pips, which is here to here, times 0.786 or 78.6% of that distance, and if you put it on the calculator, that would be 102 pips back down this direction. Okay, so that distance there is going to be 102 pips. That means the D point will be 102 pips below C. Okay, so you shouldn't need to put the calculator on any of this. I'm just using those examples. The fib tool does that for you. In other words, I'm just using those examples so you can get a mental picture of what 78% of this X to C is. Okay, because we're looking at the distance from X to C, and if we want half of that distance, or 50% retrace, it would be half of 130. So if you did half of 130, 130 times 0.50, it's going to be 65 pips. So a 50% retrace of the X to C is going to be 50 pips right there. A 78.6% of that 130 pip distance, 130 times 0.786 or 78.6% is 102 pips. So 102 pips is going to give us our D entry right there. I hope that sort of clears up the C to D confusion that you had there, the C to D is again a retrace. And when I say a retrace, or you hear a retrace, or you think about a retrace, you need to think about where price is coming from. What distance are you measuring? And if you're measuring how price moved from X to C, which is a low to high, and the retrace would naturally be back in this direction, okay? An expansion would be back above C, okay? Now in the next video we're going to talk about the retrace from C to D. So naturally, thinking where prices come from the high to low of D, price moved from C down to D, a retrace would be back up towards C. So again, if you've got price starting here at X, moving up to C, when we say retrace, that means price is coming back towards X. And what percentage does price come back? A 38, a 50, a 618, or a 786? How deep does price go? This is the retrace right here from X to C. And the way you know you'll have your fib tool done properly on these retraces, whether it's from X to C or C to D, is where price comes to first. It's going to come to the 38 first, the 50 second, the 618 third, and the deepest retrace on your fib tool is going to be a 78.6. Okay? If you're measuring the distance from X to C and you pull your fib tool and your first number you come to is a higher number, or the 78, then you know you got your fib tool wrong. Because a 78% retrace of the X to C is going to be down here. It's going to be the deepest retrace of the X to C. Now I know we've talked about proportions are going to stay the same no matter how you have your fib tool done, but you'll know you've got your fib tool set properly, whether it's from low to high or high to low, when price initially starts moving into these retrace zones. The first one will be a small number, 38. The second is always going to be 50. The 618 will be the third, and the fourth should be the 78. So I hope that clears up how you're going to find the D based on the distance of X to C. So the third video, the last video, we're going to talk about how, once you've been entered and filled here at D, how are you going to find your profit targets based on the C to D leg.